Katavuma Katonda takola ki? She followed Christ. Kyobula nga tuga dyetaba n'omwana mu ngeri y'enjawulo. Era dogma gye baagala baapaalangirira okuva kwani Pawulo omukaaga. Maybe it will come yabujje role ye mu ngeri y'enjawulo ky'ajagira. Vatican okweranirira nti yagenda yakuza omwana n'abeera naye n'agenda ku Calvario n'amuwaayo. She fully accepted. Nga tayomba talwana omwana we afe. Because it was the holy will of God. Bannange okukkiriza the holy will of God is not easy. Yamuwaayo nga ta protesting, nga tagamba ŋŋaanyi, nga tagamba Katonda nga nkubye omuggo. Muganda we bwe yafa abantu bambanga nti Katonda nga atukubye omuggo. I've been thinking about these things. Katonda takukubanga muggo. Let the whole his holy will. Kakati Bikema yange musajja gwonkubye omuggo. Tekyogera. She fully accepted the holy will of God. Kakati bagengeraganya Bikira Maria ne Ibrahim jjajja w'abakkiriza. Kuba John Paul agamba nti okukkiriza omusingi gw'okukkiriza gwa ekiragaano ekijja kuva ku Bikira Maria. Okuviira eddawo lye twagamba nti yakkiriza. Yakkiriza w'otokkirizanga. Nga n'ebyakkiriza emu tabitegera naye nakkiriza. Kuba yeesiga Katonda. She trusted in God fully. Kakati bw'atuuka ku Calvario, she accepted. N'awembe. Bagamba Ibrahim bwe n'agenda okutagira omwana we Isaaki ng'akkiriza abagenda okumukola ki? Okumutema bw'ati malayika n'amukwata ne bamuwendika. Naye Katonda tekikola kubiikira Maria. No. Tekikola. Bikema she fully accepted. Mu nnaku empitirivu omwana waffe. Mbadde ngamba Emmanuel nti muganda lwe yafa okuva mu 1989 osaba bennyini baatugamba tejja kufa. Ne batugamba tejja kufa olwaleero. What we went through naye ng'agenda afa ne batugamba bona kati organs failing. Bagamba kidneys tekyakola. Ekibumba tekyakola. N'owulira nga you see you feel that anxiety n'owulira naye ng'ofa okutula until at last bapronouncing ekirunga tolesina kukola. Naye nga wulira buli kaseera k'owulirayo bw'owulira omuntu ng'asika wulira nga boogera buli simu gy'okwatagala kukwata simu until simu yatuukira bejjesaako kiro kkumi. What we went through, the trauma. But Bikira Maria was there. First of all, n'alaba omwana we nga bamukomera ng'alabira ddala n'amaaso. Ne basimba omusaalaba ng'alaba. N'alaba omwana we ng'obulamu bwe bugenda buggweerera ng'alaba. She was traumatized. N'akkiriza until at last he breathed his last. Mu lulimi obuyitirivu ennyo n'alera obulamu. This is what our lady went through. Naye ng'abikkiriza. She was traumatized because what? She simanyi gyekyamayezi amalaki the nightmare ennaku ezo ati zeyeeba byozi byaloota. Our lady was traumatized. With Abraham, as he was going to say his son Isaac, the angel of the Lord stopped him and he was given the alternative sheep. In the case of Mary, no angel. Mary, the Second Vatican Council teaches us that Mary raised Jesus and then offered him on the cross, the altar of the cross. God did not stop her from making that offering. She stood there for 3 hours. First of all, she saw the crucifixion. Then she stood and looked at Jesus for 3 hours beside Jesus, looking at him for 3 hours. And she saw him dying slowly, until Christ breathed his last. She was traumatized. She went through a very terrible, that was a very terrible time for her. So, this is Mary. Now, So in a way, this is the new Eve. And look at Cana, Jesus calls Mary Eve, woman. Says, woman, my hour has not come. In a way, Jesus was telling Mary that you are the new Eve. You are the woman. When the woman talked about in Genesis, I put an image between you and the woman. This is the woman. It's my hour. Jesus was referring to the hour. The real art on Calvary. My hour has not come. It's the hour. Now, because again, this new Eve, that woman, behold thy son, when he was given to us, Mary most holy. So this is the story of Mary. This is the woman. Mary is the mother of Christ, of the King. I was reading one of the books of Scotland, and he said that from the time of Solomon, all those descendants of the king, as kings, would always have a throne of the queen mother beside the throne of the king. Quite interesting. Right from Solomon, the first heir to David. After his throne, I think Bathsheba was the mother of the king. There would be a throne, Bathsheba. It was very influential. The queen mother was very influential. And then afterwards, one of the most interesting things that when Matthew is talking about the genealogy of Christ, he talks about the 14 generations. They say that according to the Jews, DVD has number 14. So in a way, Matthew wanted to prove that Christ is the son of David. And when you read the Revelation, then another important, so Mary, the Ark of the Covenant, as you saw. Now, you can read us Revelations 12. Revelation, the last paragraph of Revelation, chapter 11, and then read, because I think we have 11. The last paragraph of 11, then 2.
Then God's temple in heaven was opened. The Ark of the Covenant could be seen in the temple. There were flashes of lightning, rumblings and peals of thunder, and earthquake, and a violent hailstorm.
Okay. Now, okay, you can stop there. But you know what happened? Remember what happened there? I think it was during the time of Jeremiah, during the Babylonian invasion of Israel, that Jeremiah hid the Ark of the Covenant. Maybe that was about 547 years before Christ, something like that. They never saw it. Since that time, when they rebuilt the temple, nobody could trace where the Ark of the Covenant was. Nobody could trace the Ark of the Covenant. But this Ark, why do we trust Mary? Whenever, during some of these important struggles or wars, the Ark of the Covenant was always, they always used the Ark of the Covenant. It was involved. Remember the Battle of Jericho. When they wanted to take over Jericho, the Israelites, when they had come in, wanted to take over Jericho. Jericho was a city surrounded by perimeter wall, very thick perimeter wall. And there was no way the Israelites could enter and take Jericho to steal. So God told them to take the Ark of the Covenant and go around the city, I think for 7 days, I don't remember. Then they went with the Ark of the Covenant around the city for several days, until at the end, I think of 7 days, I don't remember the number of days, they blew trumpets, and the wall collapsed. And then they marched in and they took over the city. They used the Ark of the Covenant. That's why Monsignor Alois Yongwe said in his book, on the Rosary, that the Israelites would always go with their what? With the Ark of the Covenant, their walls, some of these walls of theirs. That's how they overran Jericho, took over the city. So in all our battles, spiritual battles, God was telling us in a way that these spiritual battles, when we are engaging the devil, we know what to do. Let's just take the Ark of the Covenant, and we shall win in this battle. Why say you are about Jericho? Kibakura beetolooza ekibuga ennaku 7 n'okutta essanduuko y'endagaano bagenda beetooloola ekigo ekyali kyetoolodde ekibuga mirundi 7 bagenda beetooloola tebalumba. Oluvannyuma ennyo nga bamaze okukyetooloola baafuuwa emirere ekisenge ne kyabulukuka ne kigwa neruka bayingire ne bawamba ekibuga ekyabayamba essanduuko y'endagaano, the Ark of the Covenant erukati eri mu ggulu. Naffe twalwana entalo zaffe ez'eddiini, entalo zaffe ez'omwoyo, tumanyi essanduuko yaffe ey'endagaano, Mary Most Holy wetukwata etusobola okwetolooza. Kakati oluvannyuma lwa byonna ngira bwe twigala okinabadde bagamba nti era bulijjo everything starts with Mary. Mwe mutuukibwa okujja kuba tumeke n'abadendeseeyo, Mary was there. It was not an accident. She had to be there. Bwe baali beegayirira community esooka abakristo abaasooka beegayiriranga ne Biikira Maria. Kyobolanga n'omuwandiisi w'ekitabo ekitukuvu The Acts of the Apostles okola batuma ateeka out was not an accident. Lukka tibaali beegayirira ne Maria nnyina Yesu. Lawaga nti emirundi mingi abatume bajjanga eriki erinnya ab'omukuluguma. So that is how. Now, gena soma waddako madinagano soma waddako. The Ark of the Covenant. 12, paragraph 1.
A great sign appeared in the sky, a woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and on her head a crown of 12 stars.
What am I doing for the essanduuko y'endagaano erabise mu ggulu? It's quite interesting. Nti essanduuko yabula. 547. Then Yohana omuntu ekyokwekulu agenda nengera okubeera kati abuulira abajuuzi nendengera essanduuko y'ekiragaano kya Katonda. Agenda bwamala okwogera nti ekiramu n'alaba omukazi. Omukazi gwalaba essanduuko yennyini.
She was with child and wailed aloud in pain as she labored to give birth. Then another sign appeared in the sky. It was a huge red dragon with 7 heads and 10 horns, and on its heads were 7 diadems. Its tail swept away a third of the stars in the sky and hurled them down to the earth. Then the dragon stood before the woman about to give birth, to devour her child when she gave birth. She gave birth to a son, a male child, destined to rule all the nations with an iron rod. Her child was caught up to God and his throne. The woman herself fled into the desert, where she had a place prepared by God. Thus there she might be taken care of for 1260 days. Then war broke out in heaven. Michael and his angels battled against the dragon. The dragon and its angels fought back, but they did not prevail, and there was no longer any place for them in heaven. The huge dragon, the ancient serpent, who is called the devil and Satan, who deceived the whole world, was thrown down to earth, and its angels were thrown down with it. Then I heard a loud voice in heaven say, now have salvation and power come, and the kingdom of our God and the authority of his anointed. For the accuser of our brethren is cast out, who accuses them before our God day and night. They conquered him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. Love for life did not deter them from death. Therefore rejoice, you heavens, you who dwell in them. But woe to you, earth and sea, for the devil has come down to you in great fury, for he knows he has but a short time.
So olaba film Revelations ekyo kubikolebwa olutalo nobirawo olutalo Stan tusobola omukazi Katonda na ettaka lyabikwa ne limira omu Stan yalwa Stan yafumbulira nnyo okukola nti awangula omukazi ono n'agira n'ayasama ne mubaamu omugga mu kamwa ke ettaka ne lyasama omukazi n'awona n'atwala omukulu one omukazi omusaana gwandaala Katonda yennyini.
When the dragon saw that it had been thrown down to the earth, it pursued the woman who had given birth to the male child.
Olaba mukise agoba Sitaani ono alwanyisa olutalo kasinziku wakati w'omukazi ono nditeeka obulabe wakati wo n'omukazi.
But the woman was given to 2 wings of the great eagle, so that she could fly to her place in the desert, where, far from the serpent, she was taken care of for a year, 2 years and a half a year. The serpent, however, spewed a torrent of water out of his mouth after the woman to sweep her away with the current. But the earth helped the woman and opened its mouth and swallowed the flood that the dragon spewed out of its mouth. Then the dragon became angry with the woman and went off to wage war against the rest of her offspring, those who keep God's commandments and bear witness of Jesus.
We were talking about the Queen Mother. That shows that Mary is the Queen Mother, the mother of the King. Satan wants to wage war, but he fails. That's why Satan has never won any war against Our Lady. You see, Satan has never won and will never win a war against Mary most one. So that shows God protected her. So now we've got the Queen Mother, we've got the King, and because Mary the Queen Mother and Jesus belonged to the Davidic dynasty, Mary has to sit beside Jesus as in heaven. Consequently, right from Solomon up to all those King Davidic and dynasty, up to Jesus, as Matthew tells us, the 14th generation, up to this. And when you read this, the Revelation talks about Mary, who is the Queen Mother. She has to sit beside Christ. That's why she's in heaven holding so beside Christ. And she's powerful. Whatever she asks of, Jesus Christ grants to her. But we've seen that the devil then waged war against her children. There are those who keep God's commandments. Akantu akabukristaayo batono abakasoma olumu twaseka toli omuga ntisoma akataba tusomeremu akatundu ako n'akasoma kuba bubaga nti Bikira Maria baasa bajozi nnyo even mu bulamu obw'ensi singa ngamba katembo nti maama w'obbaasa enyala kukuba obi kubanga amanyi nyina yamukuza yamuvuna byonna bye yakolera tusobola kuyita maama w'obbaasa tesobola kuba obujozi nnyo singa yali bbaasa neyezu yandibadde tankwata ku kyagira ekyokola anagambye yezu nti wagwe tossa mu kitiibwa mu nnyoko lwaki oyagala museemu ekitiibwa neyezu atumanyi era Bikira Maria ali kututegeeza akantu ako kaleeta obuzyo nti abakristaayo batono nnyo banaabakula bakasoma nti abantu abo abakwata amateeka ga Katonda baana ba mukazi ono era omuntu agenda ne mubuuza ne mukalira ku matama kubanga tusobola n'okugamba nti kiri ekitabo tukigamba sitaani n'asitula enkono okulumba abaana b'omukazi oyo beba bakwata ebiragiro binaabakola ki so that is it. But how has Mary, Karimena Kumanizanga, there are examples how Mary, Babina Mugu, she's not sleeping. Her heart is here with us, her children. I'll give you examples, a few examples. Olumba Jukiro Charo, Wadu Wakaja, BTNC and Harris, Mufaransa, Mukumuli, something. Our lady appeared to Dominic Namgamba, so much support. And she won when there was so much support, and brought that to the end. So while you told me to read Lepanto, the Battle of Lepanto, Pius V was the pontiff, Roman pontiff then. No, Bikira Maria, Pius V, the Gamba to another letters. Run to our lady. Whenever there is a problem, the church knows where to go. We always run to our lady. Pius V told everybody, in fact, at that time, churches in Rome were kept open even during the night, and people recite the rosary. It was Turkey wanting to invade Europe. They are beaten, they could not invade Europe. Without Our Lady, Europe would have been a Muslim country, but she stopped that. And there's a book I'm reading says that it was Our Lady who saved their civilization, the Western civilization, because they were going to be overrun by the Turks. That would have been the end. It was Our Lady who came in that part of the Battle of Lepanto. When we came to the First World War, Benedict XV was the pontiff now. Told everybody to run to Our Lady. And 8 days afterwards, he made the plea on the 5th of May, 1917, and 8 days afterwards, Our Lady appears with 3 shepherd children and tell them, say the rosary. The war ended. When came the Second World War, again it was Our Lady who stopped it. After Pius XII had consecrated the whole world, the Immaculate Heart of Mary. When it came to communism, Russia, after the shooting of John Paul on 13th May 1981, they brought in the statue of Our Lady to the Vatican, and they consecrated the whole world, the Immaculate Heart of Mary, and the communism collapsed. So always the church knows where to run. In Kibeo, in Rwanda, it was Our Lady who came to warn us, but as usual, people did not heed the warning. She told them what was going to happen, and they said, please, do ABCD. People refused. So Our Lady is very, very powerful. In some of these things which are happening, God she said that if we continue sinning, many calamities will befall the world. Maybe this is another calamity which she was talking about. I don't know. So Our Lady is always with us. We know her. She's our mother. Because Christ gave it to us on Calvary. And when Christ tells John that this is your mother, what is the Jewish tradition? When I tell my son, Katamba, that this is your mother, I'm telling all my children. I think we're going to do otherwise. Singa ngamba abana bange nga tukungana nimuga nti ono nyammwe ningamba Faustino ti ono nyammwe bwaba nti mugati yagamba ko Faustino. No, that's why it's important to know. Tebulanga Protestants abasinga problem gye balina nti a Bible asomako kasi netagenda mu buwangwa bw'abantu, obuwangwa bw'Abayudaaya n'ennimi nakinaki okukola kereziya Katolika. So this is the woman we are celebrating. This is the woman bulijjo atuyambye ye mukazi bulijjo atwala n'enkinsensens endala nnyingi nnyo Bikira Maria bwe yawakola ki bwe yataasiza abaana. She not there sleeping. End with the words Bikira Maria byagamba ekibero binsanyusa ennyo. Nja kusooka kange sinagenda ekibero kamala okugenda mu Guadalupe naye nsanyusa nnyo. Yagamba Juan Diego gwe yalabikiramu nti lwaki wa muganda we taata we bamuyita Bernard yali afa taata we omuto Bikira Maria amutumye walala atazze mubiri. It's quite an interesting story. Bikira Maria bw'agamba omusajja ono gende bw'aba omusajja ono ekyamujjira taata wange afa kamala kuyita omusoosolo nekinga interesting story teyita oludda olulala olw'olusozi omukazi ono aleme okumulengera agenda amala okutwala omusoosolo kati aba akyasalinkiriza ku lusozi olwo Bikira Maria n'amuyita n'amugamba nti musajja nawulira ekiinaga naye taata wange mulwadde nnyo badde nyawo kamala okumutwalira omusaasedooti ndyoke nzire ku byo gy'ontumye owomu ebisikoko. Bikira Maria n'amugamba nti bulijjo nkulese oli mu mikono gyange kiki kye weetaaga manya tegeera n'amugamba nti n'agenda Bikira Maria n'awonya taata we n'amugamba nti nze maama waawe bonna bonna abanjagalira banneesiga. So we have a man. Ate ekirala ekibeewo Bikira Maria tugamba ati it's quite interesting. Bikira Maria yalabikiranga abaana nti baga nti yaraganga you could see nti abaagala nnyo said naye abagamba ebigambo bino tibana mbaagala nnyo kategeeza ffe ffenna she loves us. She is our mother. Ku byamanyi she is our mother. Tasobola kutuvaawo. She is our mother. So it's we okuddukira gy'ali n'okumwesiga n'okumutwaliranga ki nga mama we kuba tajja kwesibako lwampaka. She prays for us. She prays for everybody. Kwaye maama waabwe naye ekibe yafiiriza. She prays for us. Naye tulina okumwesiga n'okuddukira gy'ali mu byaffe byonna. Paapa ono aliko Francis yatugamba nti we are not orphans. We have a mother in heaven. Tetuli bamulekwa, tetuli nfuuzi, tulina nnyaffe mukulu mwatuuli. Naye nga Bikira Maria kyasinga okutwagaza tusomesa kkule. Era tusomesa kkule Barbara yebala nnyo obadde yatutwala. It's quite interesting. Gamba oyogera ng'ayogera ne maama omwebuulira ku kino na kino na kino nga Bikira Maria akwita. Mwebale nnyo mwebalire ddala.
Questions?